Okay, let's go. Good morning, everybody. Could I have your attention, please? We are convening the regular meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners for Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. I am Chair Claire Hall. Commissioners Casey Miller and Walter Chuck are with me, and that constitutes a quorum of the board. First up, we've got a couple of proclamations. The first one is for National Therapy Animal Day on April 30th. And Commissioner Miller, would you do the honors on this one, please?
Yes, I certainly would. Okay, in the matter of proclaiming April 30th, 2025 as National Therapy Animal Day in Lincoln County. Whereas there are thousands of pet partner therapy animal teams serving in communities across the United States, and whereas Pet Partners has designated April 30th, 2025 as National Therapy Animal Day, and whereas Pet Partners therapy teams in Lincoln County play an essential role in improving human health and well-being through the human-animal bond, and whereas Pet Partners therapy animals make millions of visits per year in settings such as hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and hospice, and whereas Pet Partners therapy animal teams interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students facing literacy challenges, and those approaching end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy animals who partner with the human companions bring comfort and healing to those in need, now therefore, we, the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2025 as National Therapy Animal Day in Lincoln County and encourage our community to celebrate our therapy animals and their human handlers. Further, we publicly salute the service of therapy animal teams in our community and in communities across the nation.
Thank you. Do we have presenters to come forward now? Come on up to the table, please. Introduce yourself and yeah, you need to speak into one of these mics, please, because the meeting is being live streamed and we want everybody to be able to hear you.
Well, I'm here with my therapy dog, Riley.
Okay, and your name for the record, please?
My name is Bonnie Ramola. I'm
Okay.
the Executive Director of Pet Partners of the Oregon Coast.
Thank you.
And our chapter, we are a community partner of Pet Partners. This group has been alive and well since 2005. Originally, it started at Oregon Coast Therapy Animals. And then down the road, the Pet Partners wanted all the community partners to add Pet Partners to their community name. So that's why we're now Pet Partners of the Oregon Coast. I brought some friends with me. And these are registered teams plus teams in training. And that's what our group does. We recruit and we also train on a regular basis for therapy work and also connect the teams with the community that are requesting therapy dogs. So,
And what kind of roles do therapy dogs fulfill?
they are bringing comfort.
Mhm.
They, our main visiting is the hospitals.
Mhm.
We service the Newport Samaritan Pacific Communities Hospital and also Lincoln City, since we have therapy teams in those areas, so they dedicate time there. Also the libraries. And at the at the hospitals, it's the patients
Mhm.
that is our primary, but it seems that more employees are benefiting from our visits there.
Mhm. Great.
And at the libraries, we are doing the Read With Me program that we offer. And the children during story time sit and read to the dogs, practice their reading, Riley and I have done extensive visiting at the schools. Started out at Sam Case and then did Walport, Crestview. We also have a Welch pony that is a registered therapy animal. In fact, Little Smoky will be at the Samaritan Newport. Okay.
Little Smoky.
Little Smoky.
Okay.
He's a Welch pony, so he's not a miniature, I mean, but he's not a big horse. So he will be making an appearance on May 12th outside in the courtyard for Samaritan Week. The employees and our dogs will be there inside the hospital. So those are the fun events that, you know, we like to do.
Nice. Other questions from the board?
I'm just curious about the variety of types of therapy animals. What's the range?
Well, I could show you Riley's scarf. It has all the animals on there, but typically it started out with dogs. We do have one cat. We have a blind cat down in Florence that he's just started. So we have the pony, and they do guinea pigs. They do rabbits, llamas. Believe it or not, I actually visited a Shriners and saw a pig. They had pigs, so there's quite a variety.
Wow.
They do birds. It's if you go to our website, petpartners.org, it has everything you need to know about what animal can be accepted and what the sign up and, you know, how to become a pet partner.
Yeah.
So we have high standards. Our test is, that's what we're doing with our training is training these dogs to pass the evaluation. We have to re-register every 2 years.
A new pal to meet.
So, yes. Bonnie, do the animals need then to be recertified on like a tempo?
Every 2 years.
Okay, 2 years. Okay.
And what they're watching for, is there any changes in the team? Because you can get lax after 2 years. Once you're working, you're always training your dog while you're working. As they get older. So Riley's right now, she's retired. She's 12 and a half. But
Gotcha.
she still wants to go visit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if we could ask Mr. Lip if everybody might be able to gather, like say in front of the whiteboard and get a group picture.
Sure, that would be great.
Would appreciate that.
So as they come up, we have Michelle and Marnie.
That's Marnie.
And we have Stacy and
Absolutely not.
is training to be our neutral dog, which is part of training. We have to have a neutral dog trainer dog. And then we have Sue and Lily, they're in training. Who's actually a volunteer at the hospital, so she's got the first step taken care of. And then our veteran, so dependable, Lindy and Emma may, or Emma may not. Never know when they're educated. And then we have Riley.
You get them all to look at the lens and smile.
They treat.
I'm saying this here.
Well, look.
Nice.
Thank you. Would somebody like to make the motion now to adopt this proclamation?
Yes, Chair, I would move we adopt the resolution designating April 30th, 2025 as National Therapy Animal Day in Lincoln County.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, can we make sure
indeed.
she gets a copy of the finished signed? We'll take care of that. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, our next proclamation is Vietnamese American Remembrance Day. Do we have anyone here that's presenting on that? I just wanted to check. Okay, then I will read the proclamation and we can consider it. Whereas there are wait, wrong resolution. Sorry, folks. Let's get the right one. Whereas Vietnamese refugees have proudly resided in the county of Lincoln, the state of Oregon, since the conclusion of the Vietnam War on April 30th, 1975. And whereas Vietnamese Americans have put forth their full toiling energy building the county of Lincoln, the state of Oregon, in a multitude of prominent areas, including industry, economy, culture, education, and military service. And whereas Vietnamese Americans have counted on the state of Oregon as being their second heart, mind, and family homeland. And whereas every year, Vietnamese Americans celebrate Remembrance Day on April 30th to solemnly honor the 58,000 American soldiers that included 810 servicemen and servicewomen from the state of Oregon and more than 300,000 South Vietnamese soldiers who sacrificed their lives in the line of duty for freedom and democracy in South Vietnam from November 1955 to April 1975. Now, therefore, we, the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners, hereby proclaim April 30th, 2025, to be recognized as Vietnamese American Remembrance Day in Lincoln County and encourage all to join in the reverent recognition of this cultural heritage celebration. Any comments or thoughts, commissioners?
No,
Yeah.
not for me.
This
Glad we
seems-
brought this forward.
This seems like a very appropriate thing, especially since we're coming to, my gosh, the 50th anniversary of the end of that war. Would somebody like to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we proclaim April 30th, 2025 as Vietnamese American Remembrance Day in Lincoln County.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Now we move to the adoption of the consent calendar. Again, these are routine items, items that have been discussed at previous meetings. Is there anything, well, that commissioners would like to either remove for separate consideration or highlight? Actually, I would like to start by highlighting one thing. As we discussed last week or last meeting, we are moving forward with demolition services for most of the Commons property. In this round, the Harney Building and the Exhibit Hall, I believe, are going to remain standing, and pretty much every other structure is coming down. Preparation for moving ahead with the redevelopment project. Anything else commissioners want to highlight?
Commissioner Hall, I just
Mhm.
wanted to note that we've got a lot of budget action going on
Mhm.
here. So appropriately moving our budget officer and getting him appointed to
Mm.
all those districts. So
Mhm,
it's budget season's coming, isn't it?
mhm.
But nothing to pull.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion then.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as presented.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All right, we don't have any public hearings scheduled. We have one decision and action item, and this is the resolution formally moving ahead with the 25-26 CAFA grant from the state, helping to fund our assessment and taxation services. We had a good presentation last meeting from Assessor Joe Davidson, answered all my questions. Is there consensus to move forward, make this motion and get this on the record?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so. We
Yes.
discussed that in detail. So
yeah. It is a little frustrating to me, and I know to many other people, that essentially the state is controlling the timeline on this. And when we're still in the budget development phase, we have to lock this in
yeah,
when we do, but it is what it is. Okay.
agreed. Thank you.
You bet. So a formal motion, please, to,
Sure, I'll go ahead and move that the application for the property tax program grant for fiscal year 25-26.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. It's approved. Okay, we move now to discussion and information items. We've got two separate items here, but I really think of them as being interlinked. One thing would be reviewing the order the board adopted earlier this year, designating me as liaison commissioner. And, you know, what that has allowed me to do is take some administrative actions that normally would have been the job of our administrator to keep the lights on, keep things moving. Uh, just one example, I've been checking in with the animal shelter project team, making sure everything is on track there. Then for the Commons redevelopment project, our former administrator, Tim Johnson, was leading that. And so on an interim basis, I asked our facilities director, Mike Kopp, to step in, and he's willing to do that. You know, I've been also reviewing some travel vouchers and other things and signing off that previously were the administrator's role. So any questions or discussion on that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that kind of falls under maybe some of the liaison work.
Mhm.
You know, how do you want to sort of tackle the order today? I've certainly have it in different pieces. So any thoughts on
Yeah.
on how to approach this?
Yeah, well, just for the audience's benefit, I think most people know that we have multiple liaison assignments for each commissioner serving on various boards and committees. You know, some of these are, I think you would call statutory. For instance, all three of us are appointed as board members of Community Services Consortium by virtue of our role as county commissioners. And so what I'm asking your agreement and support for, hopefully, is, you know, all of this has kind of evolved, I'd say, on really a hit or miss basis. And, you know, I've looked at many counties, some cities. Traditionally, it's the county chair or the mayor who makes these designations. And I'd like to, you know, invite each of you to submit through, I think, uh, Geneva, our office assistant, you know, requests or proposals, but I would like to make sure to the greatest extent possible, you know, the workload is fairly even and that everybody is able to take on things that they have a particular passion, interest, or background in.
Okay. So just to kind of navigate
Uh-huh.
this, Chair Hall, I think you're referring to a certain degree to the liaison position and how that sort of maybe interleaves with our second discussion item,
Mhm,
commissioner board and committee assignments.
mhm.
So feel like you're leaning into some of our committee representation. We do have a draft. I guess we should maybe just kind of jump into this.
Mhm.
And I'm curious too, it looks similar to kind of where we left off with
Mhm.
Commissioner Jacobson. So how we sort of work through where we find our passions maybe and where we would like to be. You know, I'm just kind of curious, Walter, what is your first blush as you began to kind of, you know, maybe just take the torch from Jacobson? Is that kind of how you see it so far or?
Yeah, so far, I think, well, I'd like to do a little more on the piece about having Chair Hall continue as in her role.
Mhm.
I think county council, informed me, and I've been going to the AOC meetings, and
Yeah.
there are some counties that have administrators. There's some where the chair does all that. And I just want to put it out there that, we will be reviewing applications in June for the new county administrator,
Mhm.
and hopefully looking towards talking to some of these people in July. So I think the timeline for the chair to be continuing that manner is just pretty short, hopefully.
Okay, okay.
Um,
And excuse me, Commissioner Chuck, I feel like you're bouncing to item 2
Mhm.
in the order, which is fine. And maybe that,
Okay,
right?
yeah, okay. So we'll
but
go
we can
back to
dive in.
liaison commissioner.
Okay.
Yeah, so, there are some things that I would like to say. I think Commissioner Jacobson had a pretty good list. I think
Mhm.
probably most of them I'd like to take on,
Okay.
or continue assuming. There's, you have quite a big list there, Commissioner.
Yeah,
Miller,
actually,
and
yeah, Commissioner
and-
Miller has the longest list.
Yeah,
So this is
and
something.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Hall, I think you
Mhm.
have a few that I was under at the port, and I could take
Mhm.
those on too. Do we want to do a list or just do it through Geneva?
Rather than trying to work out all the granular details right here in this meeting, would you both be open to like communication through Geneva of requests or suggestions? This list needs to be updated. I've got 2 or 3 things on here that no longer exist. So, provide each of us an opportunity for kind of reflection and
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I apologize. I did not come as deeply
Mhm.
prepared to look. I mean, I think this is a great starting point in terms of which committees we've been interacting with, and some of these. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to kind of take each one, uh, talk about like what I've actually even done or if I
Mhm.
have with any particular committee, and then maybe, list the ones that I'd like to continue with, or at least create some context for you. Because Walter, for example, I think you were at like the Small Woodlands meeting. And, one of the things that was interesting when I was talking to a representative from the Small Woodlands Association, they were like very happy to have a commissioner there. And they were unaware that we had a commissioner participating in committees that affect, right? Like affect uh, the woodlands, like the AOC committee and also the Forest Trust, land committee. And so it was great to first say, well, wait a second, you do have a commissioner who's representing you on that. But for example, Walter, if that's something you might be passionate about, I've got a lot of information I'd like to tell you about what I learned. It's an interesting uh, committee like AOCC and Forest Land Trust. There's a lot to learn, and a lot of dimension to it. So I'd be happy to share that with you, and then also say, hey, if you want to take on part of this, then But I'm happy to keep doing it as well, because it's taken so much energy even to understand where we fit in as a board, or even my knowledge of that committee. So I either want to pass on what I've learned or just continue working in that capacity, and using that as an example. What I think it'd be good for us to do too is figure out, how often do you want me to report to you about what I'm learning in those committees, right? And any kind of tempo as far as that goes, because I certainly want to be careful that, it's in my brain, but I'm not sharing it with the board. Because there's some instances too where those committees are looking for the collective decision of us as a board. And I want to be careful that I'm speaking for the entire board in some situations, right? When it really should, I think I should come back to them and say, no, this is really a choice of the entire board, not just me and what my reflections are. So,
Mhm.
and I to kind of use the example of the Forest Trust Land Advisory Committee. I mean, there's a lot of big implications on
Mhm.
how I represent us and how those those particular decisions eventually influence the flow of a lot of money.
Mhm.
So I just want to make sure we're doing that right. And in some cases, I'm fine passing the torch and putting energies into other areas too. So, I mean, I could definitely bring you back an inventory of which of these I would kind of like to stick with,
Mhm.
which ones I'm fine passing on, and maybe some here that haven't done a whole lot with and
Mhm.
as well. Sorry, that was a bit, so I don't know
No.
if that made much sense.
No, and as far as, a formal liaison, I think our jobs as commissioners is just to show up at these different entities and whether it be a city or an association or however you put it, and to listen and,
Yeah.
and not represent the county in a formal manner, but just as a listening agent and, bringing back that information to the commission. Um,
Yeah, well, and thank you, Walter, and parsing that out, because I do think when we look, at item 1 on the order here and look at ordinance 517 that begets this, if you will, the ordinance really defines that this is just an update function, right? This isn't a decision-making function. And I think too, just to jump into our appointed directors, I think we want to be careful to create direction as opposed to just listening, bringing that information back to the board, and then maybe our appointed directors convoluting when we're meeting with them whether or not we're having the authority on an issue in a given situation. Which, if we had an acting county administrator, they would be the ones providing the supervision, and so that's just not confused in item 1 because again, you've been doing this based on this order, Commissioner Hall, for, 2 months now. And, what's the tempo that you're bringing that information as you're meeting with these department heads to us and then empowering us as a board to make those decisions
Mhm.
and things of that matter. So, I
Good
wanted to,
things to consider.
yeah, because we don't want to get anyone in a situation where they're feeling triangulated at all, that I'm just meeting with you as a commissioner to get an update, but I don't have, the authority to give you direction per
Mhm.
se, right?
Mhm.
Now, I'm bringing up appointed directors just to jump back to just these committees. And again, I would be happy to bring back some recommendations and really slice this up and go over it again and then maybe shuffle things around. Because
Okay.
Commissioner Hall, are there any that you want to pass on yourself? Or what
Uh,
are your feelings?
Yeah, I will have to give that a little further thought. There's like 4 things on my list that either my role has ended or the organization has ended. So um, I, I've been part of many of these things a long time,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, it's always good to, if somebody's interested, pass on the opportunity for someone else to interact at this level with that particular group.
So the only other thing I would bring up, Chair, is that as far as the cities, I don't think that having a designee to those is necessary. I think we should be free to go to a city council meeting if possible. And like I said, we're not, unless there was something that we need, if the county was to be represented on something that was on the agenda, I would think we would bring staff with us. But like I said, to be part of the community and just showing up and letting the members of the public and residents of these cities
Mhm.
to know that there's a commissioner there, and if they wish to talk to us before or after
Hmm.
the meeting, we are there to listen.
All right. That makes sense to me. So am I sensing a consensus here that we'll have collective input through Geneva to avoid any violation of public meeting law and us having direct communication outside a meeting? And I'll come back with a plan to present to all 3 of us.
Well, okay. First, though, in regard to number 1, we've got
Mhm.
2 pieces here. I
Mhm.
think you're sort of jumping to the
Yeah, the
committees and
liaison.
boards.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
kind of actually going into discussion item number 2
Yeah.
for a moment.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So on discussion item number 2, we'll do some communication through Geneva, but then what I would appreciate is that we come back and create an order designating who were, essentially a revised
Yeah,
version of
yeah.
this list, but by order identifying who's on what.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever done that before, but I think it's really a good idea just
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
it on the record.
Yeah,
one
I think
thing.
so.
Mhm.
But I would say what I would appreciate is that we have another discussion after
Mhm.
sure, administratively,
Mhm.
Geneva can maybe format that
Mhm.
stuff for us, but that we come back and look at it again.
Of course.
Okay. Walter,
I'm fine with
does
that.
that sound okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Okay, so jumping back to number 1, when we adopted that order, essentially it was allowing me to take on a piece of the administrative job, not the whole job by any means. Actually, we have several people who are sharing administrative duties right now. Council Yule for one, but there are several others. And just to continue with this, ideally, I think until we have a new administrator in place, or if we change course and decide we need an interim.
Okay. Okay, so let me track you,
Mhm.
Chair Hall. We're going
Mhm.
back to item 1
Yes.
on discussion. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so the liaisonship.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, as you know, I abstained. I don't know why I abstained, but um, I'm glad we're looking at this again. So again, liaison,
Mhm.
it's not a supervisory role. You are interfacing with these appointed directors.
Mhm.
I just would like to throw out the concept of, is this what the appointed directors would like? And is there, to me, I think it feels like a conversation that should be inclusive, that they have some agency in choosing who their liaison is. And I'd just like to throw that out there, that is an important idea.
Okay. All right.
Well, what do you guys think?
I think it's reasonable to do that.
So you're asking that the non-elected um, department heads would be asking who they would want to represent them or who would be their liaison?
Yeah, and I would say, let's jump back. Commissioner Hall, for a history lesson,
Mhm.
prior to the ordinance 517,
Mhm.
how did you divide department heads when they reported directly to commissioners? I don't really remember how that worked, but
Yeah, again, it's one of the things that just seemed to happen organically. When I came in 20 years ago, I had a strong passion and a goal of expanding veteran services. So, in my case, retiring Commissioner Gene Cowan had that role, so it was easy for me to slide over into that. But, as I was saying, we've never really formalized this process before.
yeah.
It's been kind of on a case by case, almost organic. But I think it's really a good idea now to have that formalized in a
Yeah.
way we haven't before.
Well,
Yeah.
Health and Human Services, for example, they may want you to be the liaison for whatever reasons.
Mhm.
And I'm just open to those types of ideas. If we have strengths in certain areas, that might match us up
Mhm.
with certain appointed directors, but I just feel like they need to be included in the conversation. And I can think of some functions where we could explore that. It could be explored through a management team meeting, agenda subject to propose it to them. How would they like to see themselves split amongst the commission as liaisons? But I don't want to exclude them from the conversation if any of them at all are saying to themselves, well, do I have to report just to Commissioner Hall? Or
Mhm.
have a liaison?
Mhm.
Um, and how we solve for that problem, I guess.
Okay.
Not that it's really a problem, but I'm
A
thinking
question
inclusion
to be
here.
addressed. Okay. Okay. So,
So, as far as, official liaisons, I think we were hoping to review 517 before we get the new CA in here. And, from my talks with other county commissioners at AOC and through other levels and past county commissioners here and from other counties, um, it is good to have a liaison, but I think the counties that do have um, the administrator acts as a filter. And so I think once we do get an administrator on here, that having liaisons would actually not be a benefit to to the county administrator, because it would, in essence, give them a go around if a department
Yeah.
head was not
Yeah.
getting what some information or whatever from the administrator that they didn't think was appropriate, and then they could come to commissioner. And I think
Yes.
that we shouldn't provide that
yeah.
Well,
opportunity. And
yes.
so let me
Yeah.
finish here. And so I think going forward, I think, sure, we could ask the the appointed department heads if they wish to work with a certain commissioner. And like I said, I'm hoping that we will get some good candidates and that we will get an administrator on here soon. And I actually look forward to reviewing 517 because I did have some ideas on it. And so
Hmm.
going forward, I think we should make sure that we review that and see what the appointed department heads want to do going
Yeah.
forward.
So, if I may, Walter, I appreciate that, because this is a conversation I had actually with Council Bovet when I was in Lane. Um, and, I know his impression was, oh my gosh, don't have liaisons at all, right?
Mhm.
Because of potential, as you said, go-arounds and triangulation issues. I think when we do review 517 deeply, I'm in agreement with you. I'm not sure, I think we need to be very careful if we have liaisons and how it's defined. And to that point, I just don't think we should gloss over it at this time either. I mean, I know it's work here, but again, I would like at least a few more rules
Mhm.
in the interim as well. And maybe to your point, Commissioner Chuck, do we even need this right now? In absence of administrator, we might need something. And I would say if we are going to keep this, then maybe, how often, Commissioner Hall, are you going to update us? And, kind of
Mhm.
what's that just general criteria that you're giving us updates to in the interim, right?
Hmm.
Am I going anywhere logical here?
Mhm. Okay. So if
One more thing,
Go ahead.
and I would also
Commissioner Chuck.
say that if there are some department people that, wish to contact you and
Mhm.
ask to be, for one of us, the three of us to be a liaison, I'm more than happy to
Mhm.
serve in that capacity.
Okay.
And I would say too, it might not necessarily mean they have to meet with us. I mean, per se, maybe they could just do just a monthly report with here's, 10 things that I'm working on that are important things that I need you to know. And then we could look at that collectively. So I think there's workarounds for it having to be super formal that they designate a person. I think the main thing to me is are they upstreaming whatever their concerns are to us and that we're able to see what that information is. It could happen with individual meetings. It could happen with just like maybe a simple updates. But that we're not capturing maybe anything that they need to know. Because if I meet with a department heads and they give me an information, what's my commitment to making sure, shoot, do you know this stuff, right? Right. And I want to be sure that I'm bringing that to you and that everybody's kind of operating with the same information.
Um,
I'm
to
just
ask
gonna,
Council Yule if she has some input on this.
I do. So in typical counties where you don't have an administrator in place, I'm thinking of Multnomah County, which is the largest county that we have in Oregon. They don't have an administrator. The chair has all the administrative duties in that county,
Mhm.
and then they delegate that to
Yeah.
others. So essentially, I think what we're just asking is for us to be able to operate and pay our bills, which would give Commissioner Hall that authority to make sure we keep operating and keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And that's all she's been doing in absence of Mr. Johnson. So when you do have we have an administrative model. We made one, right, under 517. So we have an administrative model now, but we don't have an administrator. And so Chair Hall has just been temporarily serving in that capacity. Once we get an administrator, all those duties would go to that individual. So essentially, we're just trying to keep county operations functioning,
Yeah.
keep projects moving.
Mhm.
Mr. Johnson did delegate some projects to other staff members, so those have been moving along. But this is just to make policy decisions when, like sewer easements and exciting things like that, when those questions come up.
Yeah, I think anything that comes up,
Thank you.
you know, that requires board action, review, approval, that hasn't happened in the last 2 months with me wearing this hat temporarily. But if it did, I wouldn't hesitate to bring it to the full board. But, again, signing vouchers. Oh, another thing, the personnel action forms we all sign off on. For now, I'm signing twice as commissioner and then a second time fulfilling that piece of the administrative role. So, just routine operational things for the most part, I think.
Got you. Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Mhm.
And I'm glad, thank you for keeping the lights on.
Mhm.
But as well, I guess the point I want everyone to understand is that we are a board of 3 commissioners, right?
Right.
And we need to distribute that decision-making process across the board,
Mhm.
right? So we don't have an administrator.
Mhm.
And in the interim, are we doing that well? And so to your point,
Mhm.
Council Yule, yes, we got to keep the light on.
Mhm.
But again, are we getting the information we need? And where is my ability to have inclusion in that process, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
can you report to us? What kind of a function can you put into there so we can
Mhm.
see what information's coming down the pipeline and what you're discussing when you're meeting with these
Mhm.
individuals? What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
doesn't that seem
all
important?
matters that require board authorization are going to come before the board. So for example, we have several IGAs that are on this consent calendar. All of those items, Chair Hall can't unilaterally make those decisions. Those come before the board. So we're talking about administrative matters. We're talking about
It's signing
correct,
vouchers.
signing bills,
Mhm.
things that, Administrator Johnson accomplished as administrator. I mean, his job description is pretty telling
Yeah.
of exactly what he did.
Yeah.
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 Clearly, she's only able to do some functions of that
Yeah,
role.
the operational side,
Correct.
not the policy budget side.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so am I gathering you both correctly? You're fine with the wording of this and you want to leave it as is? I mean, are we seeking today to just extend this order in your mind then, Chair Hall?
Well, we put it on here for review and discussion just to make sure we were still on the same page. I don't believe the ordinance or the order included a termination date. So,
It
actually,
did,
that's right, it
yes.
did. And that date is?
So it's expired.
It's already expired.
And so
Okay.
the idea was to continue it. You could you're doing interviews in June, maybe
Mhm.
have expiration of maybe July 15th
Okay.
of 2025.
Does that sound reasonable? And then if we don't have an administrator in place at that time, discuss and review this again?
Well, we bundle a lot of things in
Mhm.
this one order, so
Mhm.
I think we need to get through the rest of it before we
Okay.
decide that, okay?
All right. What
Um,
else?
So Commissioner Hall, can we put number 1 in the parking lot just for a moment?
Okay.
And then jump to number 2. So
Okay.
I would like to talk about this a bit, okay? It designates chair as the authority to an appointed administrator. And so I have a technical question for Council Yule on this one. Ordinance 517 says that that needs to be a board decision. And I'm just wondering, how does this supersede that? Is it possible from a technical standpoint that this can supersede ordinance 517 and how?
So yes, you can designate Chair Hall as the person who can temporarily assign administrator duties. So you can do that through board order.
Mhm.
And you did.
Okay.
And you did in February.
Okay.
So, yes.
So the proposal is to continue it to July.
Okay, so now my question is, as
Mhm.
Council Yule says, an order can modify an ordinance. The
Mhm.
ordinance says that it is a board decision, 3 times board commissioners
Mm.
to designate a county administrator.
Yeah, no, there's no intent for me to make the choice. It would be a board hire.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, that's
so
not
I
what the
think you're-
language says.
Hmm?
Yes. So you're not designating Chair Hall as able to perform the full duties. Um,
Well, I mean,
So-
this is what it says. So please,
Okay.
Council Yule,
Mhm.
Commissioner Chair Hall, Chair of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners, may designate persons to temporarily exercise and perform the county administrator's powers and duties during a vacancy, absence, or disability.
Right.
Correct. And you're
Emphasis
allowed-
on temporary.
Correct. And you're allowed to temporarily do that under the Lincoln
Mhm.
County Code, and that's section 7.225.
Okay,
So that's under the ordinance.
okay. But my next point would be, shouldn't this be a board decision, not just a Claire Hall decision?
You're talking about the kinds of things I've been doing, like for instance, me asking Mr. Kopp to take on lead on the fairgrounds project. You would like
No,
to
no,
have
no, I'm,
board.
I'm
That's
talking
just one
about
example, board review
choosing
and
an
action.
interim.
Yeah, no, that doesn't say I can choose the interim. It says I can temporarily assign some pieces of administrative duty to staff.
Okay, well, I want to just make sure we're all included in this
Mhm,
process,
mhm.
okay?
Well, that's
Okay,
what today
so-
is for.
Okay,
That's what today is for.
Right.
So this is a temporary assignment of being able to conduct the administrative duties. So she is temporarily doing this, and that's what you're allowed to do under the ordinance, is to assign somebody and delegate that, and that's delegated by the board.
Mhm.
yes, I want to make sure that it is the board
Right,
decision,
right.
okay? All right, so let's jump to number 3 then. Okay, on number 3, what I'm grappling with is, again, here, something similar. When I look at the collective bargaining agreement and look at the grievance procedures, okay, it defines the board. Now, this here again, choosing just one commissioner to do that process, where are we at again here with this?
Yeah.
So we have an established past practice, and so
Yeah.
that's already been set out. The only reason this was put in place was because we only had 2 commissioners, so somebody had to be designated. So I'm fine with removing number 3,
Okay.
and we just follow our past practice.
And the past practice being,
Yep.
can we talk about that for a
No,
second?
Okay.
we actually
What-
don't talk about collective bargaining
Yeah, yeah. no.
agreements or anything regarding collective bargaining in an open board meeting.
Okay,
So what you can
But-
do is you can remove number 3, and I think that's fine now that we have 3 commissioners.
Mhm.
That was only the concern if we only had 2 commissioners when Commissioner Jacobson vacated.
okay. Well, I think we certainly need to strike that.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, Chair Hall.
Yes?
Where do you want to go next? I want to bring this back. I
Does
don't.
Commissioner Chuck have anything that he wants
Hmm.
to share since he's a part of the board?
No, I've been enjoying the back and forth and,
Yeah.
I've been getting up to speed on all these things. I think that taking number 3 out now that we have 3
Mhm.
is good.
Mhm.
And I think Council Yule has explained this pretty well. And, going forward, if I have some more comments, I'll add them.
Yeah, and I'll just say again, budget and policy decisions always remain the purview of the full board. That I just want to underscore what I've been, and if something came to me that I thought needed to be brought to the full board, something that fell into those areas, then definitely it would come to the full board. But, again, signing vouchers, appointing temporary leads on projects, those really aren't policy choices. They're just
Hmm.
basic operations, in my view.
Commissioner Chuck?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have consensus to update this order, removing section 3? Mhm. How about July 15th, and we'll see where we're at.
No, I do not. I mean, if you want to continue to talk about it, I'd be happy to. But if you would rather I meet with Council Yule and we discuss these matters, but today I'm not comfortable moving this forward. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I will move that we approve the order, removing number 3 and extending the deadline to July 15th, 2025.
I'll second the motion. Is there further discussion?
No.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed. Thank you.
Okay. All right, now we don't have any scheduled reports, so it is public comment time. And again, I want to remind everybody that there is a 3-minute limit on public comment, which will be enforced. And, if you want to present something beyond the 3-minute time limit, we always welcome and accept written comments as well. So, Mr. Lip, anybody online? Okay, then let's take a look at the board.
First one's Monty Ramola. I think she's the one that's built with that partners.
Okay.
Debbie Howard.
Mhm. Right. Okay, if you would introduce yourself for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Debbie Howard, president of LCEA, now under AFSCME. And I've worked for the county since summer of 2007. First of all, I wanted to explain, you guys are under Robert's Rules of Order, and a chair cannot make a motion or second it, and they only get to vote in the case of a tie, so you might want to look that up. Also, past practice is only good until it's called, no, you don't talk, I'm talking.
So we're not going to
And
talk about collective bargaining matters.
And if you violate the CBA in some of your decisions, it's wrong. So I just want to let you know that the decisions that have been handed down to LCEA have all been coming from one commissioner. I want to know if.
This
the-
is getting into collective bargaining,
Not
which we do.
collective bargaining.
Yes,
This
it
is
is.
not, it's my 3 minutes and you need to be quiet. We're not talking about bargaining. You violated it. Oh, that's how you work things. You adjourn when things aren't going your way. This is public comment. We have received
Chair Yule,
decisions only.
or sorry,
from
Council
Clerk
Yule,
Hall,
is this something we should not be talking about? Okay,
Because the control is all coming
I move
from
we adjourn.
Commissioner Hall.
I'll second
and
the
Christine
motion.
Yule.
All in favor of the
And they've
motion,
cut
please
Casey
say
Miller
aye.
out of everything.
We're adjourned.
Aye.
It's wrong.